Hey, what is up? So for this video, I saw a lot of comments on my most recent video about an interview that Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould did at the premiere screening for season 6 of Better Call Saul. So anyway, getting right into it, they were asked whether or not Aaron Paul and Bryan Cranston were going to appear in season 6 of Better Call Saul, and take a listen to what they said in this interview.
Are Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul going to be in Better Call Saul?
These two worlds cross over in a way that you haven't seen before, that's for sure.
Vince, comment?
What he said. Perhaps.
There we go. That's there we go.
I don't know. It's just one of those things.
Yeah,
You know what? Let me word it this way.
we don't want to be too squirrely.
It would be a damn shame if the show ended without them appearing on the show, would it not? Perhaps that is the best answer.
Okay,
The most
there you go.
zen-like.
It's not that zen-like.
No, I guess not. It's not.
So yeah, as we can hear, when Peter Gould was asked, he basically kind of gave a non-answer saying these worlds kind of cross over in ways we've never seen before. Vince Gilligan then followed up by saying perhaps, again, not a real sort of answer here, kind of talking around the question, definitely in my opinion. But after Vince Gilligan kind of gives this follow-up answer, he then appears to talk for about 15 more seconds where he kind of buries the lead here and more or less says that it would be a real shame if Aaron Paul and Bryan Cranston, aka Jesse Pinkman and Walter White, didn't appear in season 6 of Better Call Saul, meaning they wouldn't appear in the entirety of the series. Now again, I've seen a lot of people saying that maybe, they're sort of doing a workaround here and maybe that they're sort of doing reverse psychology or something to that effect. Again, I'm no expert here in regards to Latin phrases, but this kind of makes me think of the sort of Occam's razor parable where the simplest explanation is likely the correct one. And I just have to say that after hearing Vince Gilligan sort of say, wouldn't it be a shame? And then following up by saying, that's pretty zen. And then Peter Gould saying, that's not that zen, kind of implying you sort of gave it away here. I definitely think, as the saying goes, even as Saul Goodman said in season 4 of Breaking Bad in the episode entitled Open House.
Look, there's always, you got a real nice place here. Shame if something happened to it. That angle.
What are you talking about? Violence?
Attitude adjustment.
Kind of when you say this phrase, it's kind of like, we know what you're saying here. We know that you're basically saying both these characters are going to appear next season. And yeah, while I originally thought that these characters wouldn't appear, like Vince Gilligan said in this interview, it really, I guess, would be a shame, I suppose, for all fans of Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad if given the opportunity, these two characters weren't inserted into the plot of Better Call Saul. I mean, these two characters sort of started the whole thing in respect to this series even being created as a prequel to Breaking Bad. Again, I wonder if this sort of politics of television creation also sort of maybe played a role. I don't know whether or not everyone wanted these characters in this series, and maybe the executives for AMC was like, you really should have these characters in regards to drawing as much interest as we possibly can for the 6th and final season of Better Call Saul, sort of casting a wide net to all fans of, Breaking Bad who maybe aren't fans of Better Call Saul currently. So again, I don't know what went into this decision, but it's still pretty interesting to know that these characters are pretty much appearing in season 6 of Better Call Saul. Now, even though it's likely that they're going to appear, we don't know how big of a role they're going to have, of course. And to tell you the truth, I'd be pretty surprised if they shoot their wad here and they appear in the first half of season 6 of Better Call Saul. I did speculate that maybe they could appear in the final episode before the mid-season break, but aside from that, I think it's likely that they're going to appear in the second half of season 6 of Better Call Saul, definitely. To sort of have them appear right away would sort of, I feel, distract maybe from the rest of the show. And as I talked about in a different video as well, it was reported for the second episode of season 6 of Better Call Saul that if you read the credits and you're a hardcore fan of Breaking Bad, it's going to sort of spoil the appearance of these characters that are likely guest stars. And I'd be very surprised if Bryan Cranston and or Aaron Paul appeared in the second episode of season 6 of Better Call Saul. That would be something right there if they just appeared right away. I guess it could be possible. I don't know what they're planning here if they did that, but I think it's more likely that they appear in the second half of season 6. Now, in respect to the sort of role they could have in the series based on their backstories of Breaking Bad, I've definitely talked about Walter White in some pretty recent videos about how the only way he could appear in the Better Call Saul timeline would really be via a car wash scene. I talked about that in great detail in a previous video due to the fact that he wasn't really involved in the Albuquerque criminal underworld at all in 2004 when season 6 is set to take place, and also actually based on the episode of American Greed that was released as a promo for season 6 of Better Call Saul. We also know that it appears that the pilot episode of season 1 of Breaking Bad, where Walter White quit his job, took place in 2008. So due to the fact he said he worked at the car wash for 4 years, we know he's working there right now. Again, I don't want to get too into it. I talked about that in much more depth in a previous video, so definitely go check that out if you want. And other than that, the only way Walter White could really appear would be a flash forward scene to the Breaking Bad timeline. Again, a plot detail that I've discussed in more depth in a previous video. Now, in respect to Jesse Pinkman, however, I haven't really talked about his plot and his storyline theoretically should he appear in season 6 of Better Call Saul in any recent time. I actually did make a video heading into the season how I didn't think he would appear, mostly based on the fact that he's a little bit too old, in my opinion, to portray his character, but it was pointed out to me by a lot of fans of the show that we've already seen a lot of Breaking Bad characters reprise their role looking much different than they looked in the plot of Breaking Bad, despite the fact they're supposed to be playing much younger characters. So I really don't think they're going to hold off on this for Jesse Pinkman when they've already brought in characters like Hank Schrader and Steve Gomez, who are supposed to be in their 30s, but the actors portraying them are definitely in their 50s. So yeah, in respect to how Jesse Pinkman could appear in the storyline of season 6 of Better Call Saul, due to the fact we know that in season 4 of Breaking Bad, it was revealed that he was 25 years old in the episode entitled Crawl Space.
A negative, yes? Your blood type?
I don't know, maybe.
A negative. 25 years old, 70 kilo, 180 centimeters. You smoke, you drink, you puff, puff, puff.
Again, if we take all of the information that's been provided to us heading to the next season, if we subtract about 4 years from that, it appears that Jesse Pinkman is about 21 years old during the start of season 6 of Better Call Saul. And with not a ton of information being revealed to us about his backstory prior to Breaking Bad, there really isn't a lot that needs to be adhered to when sort of crafting a theoretical plot for Jesse Pinkman. Again, I don't know how big of a role he's going to play in the series of Better Call Saul. I talked about this in my video of why I didn't think he would appear as well, because I really feel like Jesse Pinkman, or Walter White would really distract from all the other storylines and plot details that are happening. But with it now pretty much being confirmed he's going to appear, we know from season 1 of Breaking Bad in the episode entitled Cats in the Bag that he worked with the character Emilio as partners manufacturing methamphetamine. And it was even revealed to us in that episode that he didn't really work with Crazy 8 at all.
The one downstairs, tell me about him. Oh, come on, anything, something. Start with his name, at least.
Crazy 8.
Crazy 8? What the hell does that even mean?
I don't know, man, okay? It means like Crazy 8, okay? I don't know.
So, you work with him regularly?
No, not him so much. His cousin, mainly.
Who's his cousin?
The guy out in the RV.
All right.
Prior to him meeting Walter White, as Jesse Pinkman says here in this episode. And interestingly, I've seen a lot of people speculate that Crazy 8 may have mentioned Aaron Paul, not by name, in the episode Off Brand in season 3 of Better Call Saul, during the scene where Nacho beats him up for being short the money he owes the cartel.
So, one of my guys, new kid, got spooked by a cruiser and ran. Dumped his stash in the gutter.
Let me finish.
Like I was saying, the guy's...
Why didn't you make it up on your end?
I did, but I couldn't make it all up.
But again, if we go back to that scene in season 1 of Breaking Bad where he said he really didn't work with Crazy 8, I don't think Crazy 8 is talking about Jesse Pinkman here when he's talking about one of his new guys. But I guess I suppose it is theoretically possible. So yeah, that's all I really got. Again, I'm pretty sure this confirms that both these characters are going to appear in season 6 of Better Call Saul. Again, how big of a role they play, I don't know. Additionally, I suppose like that flash forward scene to the timeline of Breaking Bad, I guess we could see a sort of flash forward scene involving Jesse Pinkman as well. Again, I don't know how specifically that would tie into the overall plot of Better Call Saul, but I guess it could be done. Of course, a flash forward to Jesse Pinkman in the timeline of Breaking Bad would be the only way, theoretically, he could appear with Walter White in the plot of Better Call Saul, because as we know from the canon of Breaking Bad, these two characters clearly had not seen each other in many years, likely since Jesse was in high school when they met for the first time in the plot of Breaking Bad in season 1 in the pilot episode. So this is the only real way it would make sense, I suppose, that we could see them appear. I guess it is possible, theoretically, that Jesse Pinkman could appear at the car wash as well in a scene with Walter White. But again, we're getting really into the theoretical weeds here. And at the end of the day, I'm just kind of curious to see how all this unfolds in a few weeks from now. Alright, that is all I really got for you guys on this one. Like I've said, major shout out to everyone who watches and comments on my videos. I really appreciate it. I've really enjoyed making videos heading into the 6th and final season of Better Call Saul. Additionally, definitely let me know what you guys think about these two characters likely appearing on screen next season, what you think of that. I'm really looking forward to reviewing that season in less than 2 weeks from now. It's crazy to think. As always, my name is Anton Jackson. Thank you so much for watching this video.